The views expressed in the following podcast are intended to ensure that any non-Canadian listener is as confused as possible. They do not reflect the views of our employers, spouses, friends, colleagues, sober selves, or our significantly higher brow countrymen. We take no responsibility if, as a result of this podcast, you decide to don the Canadian tuxedo or go out beaver hunting, whether or not you choose to do so with a hockey stick. Your mileage may vary. Welcome to Chew and Change. The drinking is real, the people are real, and the opinions, unfortunately, are also real. We're going to take a break from our normal intro shenanigans today to talk about something that's, well, been on everyone's mind.
That's right, Tim. Starting with the election and re-election of George W. Bush, Americans have been talking about how do I move to Canada? Well, on this episode, we're going to talk about crossing the border.
Oh yeah, eh? We're talking about going up to the Great White North on Mooseback.
Josh, we did that episode already.
Shove off, you hoser. I was overlooking the script of a double-double at Timmy's and it said...
No, Tim's right. You're looking at the wrong one. You weren't here?
Yeah, how was that new couch?
Seriously? I missed the accent one?
Yep.
Well, can we do it anyway? I've been working on it.
Honestly, it wasn't really funny when we did it. Now it's getting repetitive.
Besides, we're trying to get people to give us money for the show now. We have to make this sound more professional.
Really?
Yeah.
We're thinking about $1 US per episode. Sounds about fair.
Why not $1 Canadian?
Well, then they'd only be allowed to listen to 75% of the show.
Oh, Tim, really?
Welcome to Chew and Change. This is Josh and I am drinking Le Fendement.
Turning on a dime.
And this is Mike. I am drinking Tomatin, the 12-year. It's a Highland Scotch. This thing is benchmark setting. On the mediocre scale, it's the highest grades.
Nice. And this is Tim. I'm drinking... My French sucks, so I'm not even going to try it, but it tastes like blueberries and it's delicious.
There. It is.
I'll try and post a picture.
It is amber in color.
It's ephemera, I think, is how you say it.
Whatever.
Unibrow. It tastes like blueberries, but like good. Not like, like...
Not like someone trying to make beer out of blueberries.
Okay, so there's like Fruity, like where you put like shit in the beer, like fruit, but this is more like a flavoring, right? But like in a good way. You know what I'm talking about, audience.
Putting fruit and stuff?
I guess.
Speaking of fruit and stuff, how you doing, Josh?
I'm doing all right. What's this episode about?
Well, we're talking about moving to Canada, well, we're actually going to talk... So this is our Canada Day episode, and you know what? We decided we're going to take a little bit of time, and we are actually growing a pretty decent following in the U.S. Actually, last month, we started... Our numbers flipped. We officially have more listeners in the U.S. than we do in Canada.
What's going on, Canadians? Catch up, please.
Well, it's a bigger market, kind of, like with Trump and the trade and sort of thing. So
Fair
that's what we're
enough.
starting to realize.
Hey, you can listen to us all you want. You come after our maple syrup, we take that shit seriously. We will
do.
kill you.
We will.
Hey, look, they've got Vermont. They have their own strategic reserve.
Vermont is not maple syrup.
Vermont is not maple syrup.
Is it syrup from maple trees?
Nope.
Nope.
It's maple imposters.
There. They pretend to be maple. In order for it to be a maple tree, it has to be on Canadian soil. Otherwise, it looks like a Canadian. It looks like
There's no
maple.
standard saying a maple tree has to be in Canada.
There is now.
Okay.
We just made this up.
That is the
Two
thing.
and change decrees it.
Exactly.
I know everything. All maple trees are now exports. They're all tariffed at 25%.
25,
Unless you make
50,
them out-
50%.
Unless you make them out of aluminum, like the trees in London, Ontario, then it's only 10%.
We all,
Yeah, how about that?
Is it 60% of all the world's maple syrup?
More.
I think so.
More.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's made in Quebec.
Or is it like 90% of?
To be clear, that's from the maple trees, not from the aluminum trees that Tim was talking
You know
about,
what?
which
That would
are
be-
not made up, by the way. The Forest City, which is London, Ontario, has actual
We
aluminum
had real trees at one point. They cut it down. They put in fucking metal trees. Anyway.
They
It's-
paved it
it's
and put a
so-called
parking
art.
lot. It's a whole thing.
They put up a parking lot.
Yeah.
They did.
They paved Paradise.
Yes,
And put up
exactly.
a parking lot.
Although,
And late one night, I heard a big screen door slam, and a big yellow taxi took my sweetheart away.
that's unfortunate.
Well, we can't keep going with that.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
Even without the tune, I thought we had a constitutional right to make fun of people.
Only if it's officially parody, which this is. Hey! Anyway, so, which is also a Canadian treasure. Yes. Okay, so, for our American listeners, this episode, as much as...
American? You're
American.
You're American listeners?
American. Or to ruin your day if you happen to be crossing the border while out for a jog. That actually is something that happens.
Fuck, that's crazy.
This is the thing. So for those of you who have been living under a rock, well, heck, it's actually a pretty obscure story, to be honest. There was someone basically who was visiting relatives in British Columbia. She was from France. She crossed the border while she was out for a morning run. She was running along a beach. The tide comes in. She just, curves around up a dirt path. Without knowing it, she actually ended up on the American side of the border, and she was arrested.
I know. Gee, and here's the fucked up part. They didn't just go, hey, just, fucking turn around.
Yeah, by the way,
what's wrong with you?
By the way, Canada's that way. Please run off.
They arrested her, put her like something like 100 miles south of the border, detained her for 2 weeks before they let her back in. Gee, what? Okay, so,
Like, you'd think there would be like a sign or something saying, hey.
Well, here's the funny thing, right? I'm trying to think.
Even Mordor had a wall. Like, don't enter, like, all doom, thou shall not pass or something. I don't know.
And here's the funny thing, right? Gee,
you shall not pass.
Gee, I'm trying to find the common denominator here. Like, if I went for a jog, we know it's not going to happen.
Don't get into fractions, Tim. Americans can't do fractions. They did math under the Bush administration.
So I'm just thinking about this going, gee, she's brown and has an accent. Gee, I wonder why she got arrested. Oh, let's look at it that way, yes.
Because she's French. Freedom fries.
Freedom fries.
Freedom
and
fries.
Freedom toast.
And Freedom toast.
And Freedom Canadians. Don't forget about the Freedom Canadians.
I'm not familiar with the Freedom Canadians.
Well, my father, so the whole Freedom fries shit that happened when France rightfully said, yeah, we're not going to Iraq unless you can prove they've got if they start fucking throwing around mustard gas, sure.
Yeah.
But so in the US, we're not good. We're French fries, Freedom fries.
We're going to call them Freedom Fries while they were bombing the shit out of Iraq.
Well, they freed the shit out of Iraq.
They freed the shit out of Iraq.
They freed the shit out of Iraq.
And gave them Freedom Fries.
And Freedom toast.
And Freedom Toast.
So my dad
and Belgian waffles.
So my dad who lives in South Dakota.
Don't forget the Belgian waffles.
Because they don't speak French in Belgium.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No,
they
not
speak
at all.
Belgian.
Not at all. Yeah, that's
Belgian, not French, Belgian.
Well,
They're actually considered the best French speakers in the world.
Actually, here's the funny thing. Yeah. No, I disagree because it's hard to hear them. You know why? They sound a little Flemish.
Linguist jokes. No.
Okay, anyway.
Aren't you the cunning linguist?
I am a master debater, but not a cunning linguist.
Oh, okay, there you go.
My poor wife. Anyway, so actually, funny story. So my dad used to love to tell this joke. He's a listener, by the way. Hi, Dad.
Hey, Tim's dad. Hi.
He lives in South Dakota. Anyway, he loved to tell people, yeah, I guess that makes me Freedom Canadian.
So he's one of the 5 people that live there.
Hey, 7.
We
Farmer
stopped-
Brown got a cow, and that counts.
Since
That
we stopped counting the cows.
You're thinking North Dakota.
That's right.
Different thing. Yes.
Actually,
Oh, yeah, different thing.
It's either North or South Dakota that has the highest median wealth.
North Dakota, because
could be.
they have their own little oil patch. So
They do.
we thought
their tap water catches fire. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Good old
So
capitalism.
I figured,
Oh, yeah.
I haven't made a too big of a secret about this. I mean, you caught the hint the last show, but I figure I'd say this now. I technically am an expat, although my family is Canadian. Yeah, so my family showed up and the Métis showed up 9 months later. That's how Canadian we are.
There.
So
Perfect.
You want to be honest? That's how this shit happened.
All right. Love it.
So, however, I was born in California, and I actually grew up in the state of Iowa, where we actually have a following because, I've got a few friends down there. Sure.
Because corn is always interesting.
Hey,
What's new with corn?
Yeah, I know.
corn.
They made a new
Non-GMO seeds.
Exactly.
Heirloom. It's great.
Heirloom corn.
Yeah. Is there such a thing as a non-GMO food anymore? I feel like we've crossbred them all.
That's a different podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so
I appreciate GMO food.
American.
But I've lived in Canada
something.
almost half my life at this point.
Sure.
Because I'm not super old, but in London,
You're
for a good
super
chunk of
old.
it. But I'm super old. Yes,
You're super old.
Yeah.
I am super old. You're super old.
Well, I'm gonna. Yeah, we're all in our 80s here.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So I figured this would be a good time to talk about. Let's. Josh, your beer runneth empty.
Your beer runneth empty. Your cup runneth empty.
How did you let this happen?
I don't know.
Sounds like.
hell.
Is it time for a break
9%
yet?
beer. No.
You know what? This is our goddamn show. We're gonna put in about a 5-second break so Josh can get another damn beer. All right. See you in a bit.
Go.
And welcome back to the break. So, on my encouragement, Josh is now drinking a social lime ginger cooler. Now it's a vodka soda, so it's not like this is like hangover juice.
Hangover juice.
This actually, here's the thing: if you have a hangover, this is the cure. And I'm not paid to say this, although if somebody wants to pay me to say this, that's cool. Social lime ginger. I tell you, if you have a hangover, you drink it. Your hangover, you're still going to have it, but you feel slightly drunker. So yay. It's actually good for your stomach. It's got ginger in it.
You know what? That makes sense, actually, because you got a little bit of the alcohol, because it's like 4%. There's hardly any alcohol in this
That's 7, buddy.
Oh, it says 4.
4? I thought it was drunker. Okay, we are recording. You're fucking on your phone. You're belching. Come on.
I'm not belching. I am
clearing out his vocal cord complex.
Yes, it's called
vocal folds. I will be
folds.
picky on that. Anyway, so getting to the point of this podcast, already 12 minutes in.
It's a
so,
Canadian sound check, my friend.
Yes, we're coining that. Canadian sound check. You belch into the mic.
Love it. That is exactly
Perfect.
it. Exactly it.
We're gonna put that shit on Facebook. We're gonna put like Celine Dion's face on
We're
it.
gonna
It's gonna be awesome.
merchandise. We're gonna go ahead and do a. We're gonna do
t-shirts and shit.
Do a Shopify.
We have enough. We have enough.
We'll
listeners
drop
at this
ship
point.
it from China. It'll be great.
There we go. We'll get our shit made in China like a normal country. Anyway,
exactly.
So yeah. So okay. So when I first came to Canada, a couple things kind of popped out of me that were a little bit different, and it's not the way people talk. That's all a bunch of bullshit. Really, it's just. No, well, I mean,
There's a couple
like there's like slang things that change a bit, like knowing what a 2-4 is. That took me a little bit to 24 beers in a box. Hey, that's a great idea. I'm sorry. That's
Apparently,
awesome.
adding "use" to everything that just needs to know.
Yep. Well, if you look at the color of the favor,
The color of the
And you see the
favorable
humor
honor,
in that.
the favorable
In your neighborhood.
Exactly. Yes.
favorable on your neighborhood.
I'm
Yes.
sorry that we spell things the correct way and you guys spell things the American way. Now I'm actually having a minor panic attack. I think I might have had a blog post where one without the U was in it somehow.
And of course, Josh, you're going to take this moment to come out. You're a naturalized citizen of this great
Yes,
country.
I am a natural.
The Canadian podcast has only one born Canadian
What
on
the
it.
hell is wrong with you two? I feel like
Happy Canada Day, everyone.
I've got the pedigree.
You do
My
have the
family's
pedigree.
been longer here than you.
So I
They
did.
have been, yes.
I did my family tree, and we go back to like Virginia in the 1500s. So theoretically, I was American through and through. I consider myself Canadian. I've been
All
here
four-
for most
yeah.
of my adult life.
And that's what I think what Canadian is. Canadian is not necessarily, and this is where I disagree with a lot of people. My family's been here since, or my family. It's like, no. I mean, my family's been here since the 1500s. Canada, being Canadian is not necessarily.
It's not about pedigree.
No, I hate to say it's about a state of mind, man.
It's a state of mind.
But in a way,
That's how-
it
that's
kind
what
of
they
is.
say in
It kind of
Vancouver.
is. Oh well, I don't want to know their state of mind there because they're like, oh, like yeah.
yeah, man. Tofino's where it's at. Okay.
You've never been to
waves.
Tofino.
I kind of missed that reference, I think.
It was kind of mid towards Justin Trudeau because he always goes to Tofino, but I think that's
Okay.
yes.
All right. I get it.
We
That's our
have the
pride.
handsomest leader in the world.
we have
yes, we do.
Our
Yes, we
leader,
do.
You have a Cheeto Mussolini. Our leader goes and takes his shirt off and like
Hold on,
Poses
hold on,
and
hold
wedding
on.
photos.
Hold on. If the ability to take your shirt off is the only thing that matters, then that kind of puts him on par with Putin. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I'd be interested to compare the two, just for scientific purposes.
Science,
of
for
course.
science, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's old.
Okay, no.
Yeah, but still,
He's
I
not
would swear
Patrick
off against
Brazeau. I wouldn't put those two in the same boat.
If I look,
XKJB versus theater
look
teacher.
on our last,
Not
on
the
our
same.
very last episode, we put up the video
That
of
we
Justin
had
Trudeau
recorded,
boxing the hell out of
that we recorded 3 episodes ago.
3 episodes ago.
Don't blow the fucking illusion.
Okay,
man.
so
You blew it there again. He could literally just said, "Don't." That's 3 episodes ago, and you
Yeah.
could have said, "Well, yeah, that's because you can't figure out dates." That would have been a good cover.
There
You're
you
like,
go.
"Don't blow the illusion,
Don't
man,"
blow the
which
illusion.
blows the-
Fuck you both. Anyway,
Fine. So like 3 episodes
Hey,
ago,
fuck
I
you, buddy.
guess, we actually have a video of
Fuck you
Justin
too,
Trudeau
eh?
kicking the crap out of another MP in a boxing match for charity.
No, and
yeah,
a
that guy
senator.
was like a rapist though, or something, wasn't he?
Something like that. He got arrested later, whatever
He's
it
a
was.
general jackass.
Sure, which is why Justin Trudeau.
See,
kicks
we
his ass
arrest
makes
our
me happy inside.
jackasses.
I suppose.
Sorry, Americans.
Well, no, I mean we still have Doug Ford running the province, so we don't arrest them all. But
Hang on, he's not screwed anything up royally yet. He hasn't had time to.
he hasn't even been in the
Exactly. So why are you doing this already?
Twitch. Anyway,
Twitch.
So anyway, one of the things I kind of want to talk about is, well, we're kind of getting to our break here, so I won't.
What
really
break? I thought we just
Canada's
did that.
better.
No,
Hands
we,
down.
we did the break to.
I mean, what?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Hold on a second.
Canada's
So
better? I know.
Well, okay.
Thank
Well,
you
Canadian
for agreeing,
superiority. Well, we can't. Here's the thing. In Canada, and this is kind of what we alluded to the episode a couple weeks ago with Laura, that we kind of fall in love with the smell of our own farts because we tend to compare ourselves to the.
We compare ourselves to the Americans who have
Vintage.
more pronounced weaknesses and less pronounced strengths than we do.
But that's not a good measure.
It's
is
not.
The thing.
It's
because
not.
we need to measure ourselves internationally, not just based off of what's happening across the border.
Right.
We have a better healthcare system, but only marginally better.
Right.
Because if we look at what's actually going on now, keep in mind we have different challenges and say
We're less
like
racist,
France.
but only marginally less
Oh, God,
racist.
we're not necessarily less racist. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
the whole-
we just recognize that. Yeah, but it's kind of against the law to be like a fucking asshole. That's the difference we came up with.
They put people from Latin origin in internment camps. We put natives in internment camps.
Exactly.
We just call them reserves, and we just take their children away. Well, oh God, that sounds really familiar.
That really does sound familiar, doesn't it?
Awkward turtle. Anyway, awkward turtle. You do this thing with your hand where it's like your
So,
thumbs
are we talking about
Anyway.
Canadian differences?
I
So,
have no idea.
They have a White House. We have a house.
We have a house that the Prime Minister won't even live in because of how bad it was.
'Cause
I
it's
was
got-
embarrassed by
Actually,
that.
yes, I was embarrassed.
I
by
was
this.
embarrassed by
There's
that.
a
No,
difference.
look, I'm
Well,
a
because
libertarian.
we don't
so
want
you-
to spend money on that. Well,
Now, you
fuck,
would
this is
think-
where the fucking leader of our fucking country lives.
And
make
here's
it
the-
nice. Put out a spread. I don't know.
Here's the thing. So I'm the libertarian, right? So you would think I'd be the one who'd be like, no, don't spend money on it. But
live in a shithole.
even I'm sitting here like, they did what? Like, after the election is when I found out that Justin Trudeau would not move in. I'm like, what? Why not? And I'm finding out that the Harper family was literally running around with plastic pails to stop the water leaking in. I'm like, that's terrible.
Well, because
And then
nobody wants to be the guy who
That
goes,
says-
well, we're going to spend money on dirt to do because we have this whole fucking, my taxes, which we have up here too. But
Wait, fine, but
To a lesser
I wonder who's.
But-
who's? I'm not that way. Are you that way, Tim?
well, one of us is.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you what, let's
I
take-
am not that way when it comes to the
Let's
leader's
take a-
residence.
Let's take a quick break and let's find out where the my taxes come from. All right, we'll take a quick break. All right.
Screw you both.
You're listening to Two and Change with Tim and.
Hold on.
we're-
What made you in charge? Who gets to do
Why
the
are you
stuff?
the guy who always gets to start this piece off?
It's my house.
You know, it's my house.
my house.
You know what?
Okay.
It's also Two and Change. You can visit our website at twoandchange.ca. You
Also
can
find
see,
us wherever our podcast.
You can see Mike there and Josh.
Yeah,
and
the other
that's-
two important people.
And there's somebody else.
Yeah.
Make sure you go to twoandchange.ca and check us out.
I'm not doing this with you guys anymore. And welcome back from that break. Anyway, so
Here's what I was thinking about.
here's what you're thinking.
Here's what I was thinking.
Right
about.
back into it.
Like let's so on the one hand, obviously our leader needs a good place to live into. I don't know if we need a replica of the White House or something, but when I heard that the 24 Sussex Drive was in that bad of shape, I was embarrassed by it. But when I heard it was going to cost, you ready for this, $6 million to properly renovate that place, I'm also a pragmatist. Maybe someone has some kind of historical, emotional connection
no,
to that property.
You're just Dutch.
No. Look, if
I just need to lick a paint.
that's not what I'm talking about.
It
$6 million.
It has no structural foundation.
Yeah.
There. It's surface.
But
damage.
hold on. $6 million is to me the sign where it says no. Wrecking ball that place and completely rebuild it from the ground up. But people
Well,
are like, oh, but it's a heritage building. No, it's
it-
not.
yeah, it actually
$6
kind of is.
million to renovate that place, knock it
This
over,
is a
and
historical
build.
Don't It's not a Miley Cyrus
yeah.
song. You
I
don't
don't
just
care.
come in there with a wrecking ball.
Watch me come in there with a wrecking ball. If it needs that much money to fix it up,
I'm the last person to say just because it's old, it has value. Hear
Yeah.
that, old people? Anyway. Anyway, so I'm the last person to say just because it's old, it has intrinsic value. I don't believe that because, you know, there's too much lack of progress that makes, especially in this fucking city.
Sure.
That doesn't happen because people don't want to knock shit down. I'm like, yeah, let's knock the shit down.
Agreed.
Just because it's old doesn't mean it's fucking nice. But here's the thing: this
Tear
is where
it
the
up and
fucking
put it
prime
up
minister
condos.
lives.
I know it's where the prime minister, but here's the thing: it's where we have been appropriately embarrassed at where the prime minister lives for a
So
while.
stop being embarrassed.
The building
how
is
much do you think
falling
it's
to pieces.
But how much do you think it's going to cost to knock it down, pave it over, and build a new fucking building that is worthy of the fucking prime minister of our country?
All right,
$6 million.
Okay.
So let's fucking fix the place.
Let's not
you
fix
have
the-
All
this way you
right.
can say you have-
So to go back to differences,
Yes.
there's one.
cereal, breakfast cereal.
Breakfast cereal?
We don't have all the same ones.
We
There's-
don't.
no,
we don't. And I have also seen your flavors of potato chips down there in the States. What the hell?
Hey, they don't have ketchup as prevalent in all
Never
all dressed in
before.
ketchup.
So
I have-
I had a friend bring up a bag of chips called chicken and waffle flavored potato chips.
That sounds amazing. not
Never
gonna
before
lie.
has a potato convinced me so hard that it was not a potato. It actually didn't taste bad, but what?
Don't you diss chicken and waffles? That's my heritage.
It's an amazing flavor.
I consider
but
myself Canadian, but don't diss chicken and waffles.
Chickens and waffles.
I'm from the South. Anyways,
Pretty good. It's a good combination.
it is.
it is, but it just didn't
It's
taste like a
sugary
potato.
syrup, actually corn syrup.
So
Sugary
not-
syrup,
Iowa.
Bullshit.
waffles, and fried chicken. It's basically a heart attack. It's fantastic. I have a source. I go get my Captain Crunch berries.
What? Where?
This place-
What?
There's an American shop in Gibraltar.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah,
See,
so-
here's the thing: crunch berries, I'm convinced, are illegal in Canada.
What is a crunch berry?
It's based-
not a berry.
It's the closest thing that they can artificially make sugar to resemble the chemical structure of crack cocaine, and they put that in a little berry shape,
and they
then-
added to
amazing.
Captain Crunch.
and it's just fucking heavenly.
I think I've seen this on pictures on the internet. Yeah, Captain Crunch up here is just the yellow crunchy thingies.
Yeah.
But there they put in crunch berries.
Crunch
which
berries.
are like crack.
They have the in the US they have like the actual Captain Crunch, and they have the cereals like
Cookie Crisp.
Apple Jacks. They have
Apple
Apple Jacks
Jacks?
down there. Yeah.
There's Sugar Crisp up here. Is that a similar thing?
That's not even close. That's
no.
like half the sugar of Cookie Crisp.
Okay, fair
Cookie
enough.
Crisp is literally cookies.
Oh, you would like the cereals in the U.S. This is libertarian paradise. I don't give a fuck what's in it. The free market will sort that shit out.
Free market will sort that shit out. Like it kind of does up here. Why don't we have crunch berries in our Captain Crunch?
It's probably because half
probably
the
illegal.
substances are it's probably like red dye number 37, which causes like 8 times kinds of cancer.
Well, actually, you can get the generic, you can get the multi-meal stuff, which is what I also like too. You had the
Do
thing.
you remember King Vitamin?
Yes.
You can't get that here. That's like
That's a good
That's
thing.
like the knockoff brand of Captain Crunch.
I was going to say, what's a
there's
King
a
Vitamin?
there's a knockoff brand of
well,
Captain Crunch. Let's
well,
gotta get down there.
some watery tart gave him a sword. Now he's king.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, revealing inherent inconsistencies in the system.
Help! I'm being oppressed.
Exactly.
Oh God.
Insufficiently
you know
British
what? You
accent
know what's an
there, Jim.
interesting difference? The biggest difference that
Now
I've
we see the violence inherent in the system.
Exactly.
Help! I'm being I can't do British.
No, you
yeah,
can't.
don't do
My
British.
mother's English. I can't do British.
Well, that's because Britain has like 27 different accents.
Well, we inherited all the U's. We should at least be able to do a good proximity.
Fair enough.
What are you muttering now?
I don't know.
You're out of it, man.
You know what? Back in my day, we used to go sort of going down to the beach, and we used to go down, and then we go out. No, I don't know.
What
So
the fuck?
I have no idea what that was.
that was interesting. Whatever.
The
anyways,
power of Christ compels you.
I need an old priest and a young priest.
No, you don't.
My name is Benny. Anyways, one of the differences between
Sorry,
Canadians
Mike's
and
mom.
American is
I like how our parents listen to this and like nobody else.
Exactly. Yep.
my mom says I'm cool. Okay.
Mom genuinely enjoys the show, and I don't know why, but she does.
So you get your dad to listen to a few.
No, he listened to about 3 seconds of the one where Josh cursed in the first 3 seconds, and then that was about
That's
it for him.
not my fault.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
is.
I take issue with that.
Okay, take issue with it then. It's still true.
Anyways,
doesn't
one of
happen.
the first difference that I ever noticed when I came to Canada was that Canadians are not fucking paranoid. Like Americans
Actually,
are so paranoid.
Hang on, we're not as paranoid.
Okay.
I wish that we did not scare as easy as we do. But the Americans
okay,
are
we're
ridiculously
paranoid,
skittish.
but the Americans are like
Schizophrenic paranoid.
they still think the British are coming. Like,
Actually, I've got a practical example of this. So when
Yeah.
I come so when I walk into the house,
Yeah.
even though I'm home,
Uh-huh.
I lock the door.
What?
Now, Yeah, that's a normal American thing. Like, this is sort of a normal cultural thing in the U.S. Like, so what I do when I come in, and you've noticed this coming into my house because we record this at my house.
Yeah.
You've noticed a few times when you first came in is that the door's sometimes locked. Is because I have it intrinsic in my mind. And I didn't okay, I grew up in Anaheim, California for the first 8 years of my life. So maybe that's kind of where some of it came from.
Maybe.
But still, this habit kind of carried through to Iowa, where I lived.
See, and my house stays unlocked when we leave the house. It's kind of
but I won't say where I live, but yeah, mine often is unlocked here.
So I'm going to put his address on the...
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But like to me, it was like Laura is like really confused about this because like, well, why'd you lock the door? We're home.
You know what?
Why would you lock the door?
We lock the door, and it's not just from an American roots thing and like behavior. We also have the kids. So we have the door guardian
You
stuff.
don't want
One of yours,
but one of yours is on the spectrum, right?
Yeah,
And
so that
just
so,
to make sure safety. Yeah.
So sometimes that's like it's just habit, but I think if that wasn't the case, our doors would be on. We would lock them at night.
Yeah.
When we go to bed, yeah.
Maybe-
My wife
maybe
does
that's
that.
a-
She's always been Canadian.
Maybe
so.
that's a London thing.
Well,
I don't know.
like I don't know because like I come home from
Yeah.
work because I work till 1 a.m.
Sure.
And the doors are unlocked because Laura leaves the door unlocked for me because it's out of convenience to me. And I'm thinking,
that might be an urban versus rural thing too, a little bit.
Maybe.
Well,
Because
you
like
think- you
they
think
lock
in the
doors in
urban-
Toronto.
They do.
So,
but this is an urban area. And my wife doesn't lock the door because she finds that weird. And we live in like, well, then again, the definition of a high crime area in London, Ontario is a little bit different than like
It's
I
not
get it.
Jade and Finch in Toronto.
Well, even Jane and Finch in Toronto compared to like
south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like a Canadian. Like I've never felt nervous walking anywhere in Canada. Like I've been to the drug infested areas in Vancouver, like East Hastings, wherever the fuck it's called. I've been to like the weirder places in Toronto, that sort of thing. I've never felt nervous.
I've been in a couple places on the east side of Vancouver that were a little sketchy that I was like, I'm not comfortable here.
Did you accidentally do the walk between Gastown and Chinatown? I've done that once.
Yeah,
I won't do that again.
I was a little. I was my
It
first
was a
time to
little
Vancouver,
sketch,
and I was
but-
like, I'm gonna. This is not what I thought it was.
They painted all the buildings really bright colors there, kind of like what Brazil did for the fucking Olympics. But
I've never been uncomfortable anywhere in Canada. Never.
No.
And
Have you ever been to Winnipeg?
No, I have not.
Yeah, they make you uncomfortable there.
Because they love you too hard?
No,
or
because
what?
they're Winnipeg. Because they're from Winnipeg.
What does that even mean? They're from Winnipeg.
well, Winnipeg.
They have snow and wheatgrass.
They have snow, wheatgrass, and mosquitoes. There's nothing in between.
Yeah. And railroads.
That's their 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Wheatgrass season, mosquito season. Yeah, Winnipeg, you've been 2 and change.
That's right. Yeah. If we have any listeners from there at all,
Well,
They'll agree.
well,
I agree.
well, Keith's wife Claire is from Winnipeg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
You know what?
Manitoba.
My wife actually has lived in Winnipeg as well.
Really?
Yes, she lived in Winnipeg for a while. She
did you
never
say Manitoba?
Manitoba?
I heard Manitoba.
Manitoba.
I heard Manitoba.
Yeah, I have friends who live actually just about an hour and a half drive southwest of Winnipeg. It's the Carmen area, and my wife actually lived in Winnipeg for a while as well. She never described it as having only 3 seasons. I know that in the wintertime it's like -40, which
Well,
is stupid cold, but
The climate I spent my teenage years in Iowa is like maybe a couple degrees warmer than that because
Yeah.
Iowa you like straight line from Winnipeg down a little bit.
So,
and then you're
yeah.
in,
I
you're
mean,
in Iowa
this
at
this
that
is
point.
this is something the same about the states in the U.S. Everyone in the prairies really weird. So
fuck off.
case in point,
We have a strong following from the state of Iowa. My fellow Iowanians.
you're weird.
thank you for listening.
So
Thank you for listening.
The town of Fort Saskatchewan. What province would that be in?
You would think it would be in Saskatchewan, but it's not.
But it's in
not.
fucking Manitoba.
It's in Manitoba.
It's in Alberta.
What?
It's in Alberta?
But yeah,
Okay, I guess, yeah. We'll
go
have to put it-
figure.
I don't know.
I guess I'll have to Google that shit.
I'm going to take the opportunity to plug the
Fort Saskatchewan. Hey,
Yeah.
Fort Saskatchewan.
and the people who have once featured that town in their song. They're called the Arrogant Worms, a Canadian band.
Wait,
If you-
sorry, the what?
The Arrogant Worms. Have you
Ar-
never
arrogant-
heard of
arrogant-
these people?
Sorry, I thought you said Aryan worms.
Also,
I'm like,
if you properly spell Saskatchewan, awesome.
Hang on. SASKATCHEWAN?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds right. Anyway,
Actually, got you too, eh?
actually, you know what fucking threw me through a loop? So when I came to Canada, so I moved to Canada. So I grew up in California.
Yeah.
Then we moved to BC for a bit.
Yep.
So I did, I went to school in BC. We learned all the provinces and the 2 territories.
Yes,
And
2.
then we moved to Iowa. Then I moved back to Canada. And there were 3 territories. I'm
Yep.
like,
one of which
shit
is
happen?
a giant native reserve, effectively.
Well,
That's
hey,
basically
you know what?
Nunavut is.
Fuck it. Why not? Why not?
What do you mean, why not? Because it's
are
a
we talking about-
frozen wasteland. There is
Oh.
literally not a less valuable spit of land we could have
I
given.
spaced out for a
it's-
little bit. You
yeah.
said giant, just basically giant native reserve, and I thought Oklahoma. But I was
Nope.
Where the winds come sweeping down the plains?
We're talking about
Tom Cruise actually took a piece.
OKLO. That's the only reason I know how to spell Oklahoma.
We're talking about, to give you an idea of just how remote Nunavut is, the capital city called Iqaluit has a population of 1,200 people.
So-
That's the,
So quick question,
Answer.
right? So with Nunavut,
yes,
would you ever visit Nunavut?
I would have none of it.
My wife spent, it's like my wife spent a year in Nunavut.
Did she?
Yeah, Baker
When it
Lake.
was Nunavut?
It was none of it.
Okay.
Did she have any of it?
I don't know.
She had none of it.
She had none of it.
She was 18.
The pun is just so easy. I don't even know what the word
Here's
translates
Canada.
to.
Canada's a really interesting place because she was 18 running a prenatal nutrition center with 0 experience in Baker Lake, Nunavut.
That sounds
great.
dangerous. Not gonna lie.
It also sounds about right for that part of
your
country.
wife's
And
an
making
amazing
20
woman, but that sounds
and
kind of
making like
dangerous.
the equivalency now because it was a little bit less than, but it was like $23 an hour to work at KFC.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Well, then again, you get to like northern places, like so you go to the oil patches out in Alberta.
Yeah.
And you go out there, they'll pay like $25 an hour to work at Timmy's,
And then it's $25 for a gallon of milk. Like
Exactly.
18
Well-
bucks for a zucchini.
I actually
you
do
hear these
remember hearing about
stories.
that, and I blame the government for it
How do you blame the government for that shit?
because everything has to
Well,
be.
hold on a second. Isn't that more the free market saying this is what labor's worth?
no. He's
Nope.
he's right. Yes.
Nope. It is
The free
because
market
it is
is determined.
because
$25 is what it's worth it.
it is because everything that they produce there, for example, seal meat that they're not allowed to have anymore because the seals.
We
But
can have seal meat.
Everything that hold on, whatever they produce there has to be shipped all the way down to Manitoba
I'm talking about
to be inspected.
I'm talking about Fort
and then
McMurray,
sent
dude.
and then sent back up to Nunavut.
That's not true. They slaughter
Think
stuff
about
like
Fort
literally
Mac.
in the open street, so that's not the case.
Well, but
and
legally.
people.
yeah, that's
No,
it.
that's-
no,
that's
that's
a
wait,
different
no,
show.
No,
Yeah.
that's
Different show.
different show,
That's-
different
that's
place,
the
different
Purge.
time.
Yeah.
That's the Mexican
Just
border.
different in every other. Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
I blame the government for the food prices in Nunavut.
Not
Talking-
even.
okay,
remotely.
I was talking about more Fort Mac sort of area.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, then we're talking.
I
about-
blame the strippers.
No.
Always
and the
blame
crack
the
cocaine.
Inuit strippers?
Wait, Inuit strippers?
Fort Mac
Wouldn't they get cold?
McMurray.
They would get very cold.
It'd be very cold.
It's no way.
Which would make
it's
the
not
show
the
better.
government's fault
You
at all.
think there's a titty bar in Nunavut?
Yeah.
There's only 1,200 people.
No, it's a dry It's a dry territory.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
That's
No
what?
booze?
Yeah. The whole territory. Is
All
dry.
right, so we know we're not doing a live show in Nunavut anytime soon. So
That tells me that there's a black market of booze in Nunavut. That's
of course.
Yeah, it is not a dry territory.
Well, you look
There's
at-
booze there.
There's such thing as a dry county. No such thing as a dry territory.
Well, you
Yeah.
have these whole Jesus said we should make it dry.
so
Sort of
here's the
areas
funny:
in the US.
dry counties have a higher rate of alcoholism and DUIs
Yeah.
than non-dry counties.
sounds about
Well, no
right,
shit.
actually.
It's because
It's
prohibition
almost,
doesn't
almost
work.
like the war on drugs doesn't work.
Hey, you get no argument from me on that one.
Huh? How about that?
I'm in favor of legalization and make it a public health issue.
Absolutely.
Oh, speaking of Canada Day and differences, we're going to legalize pot.
Woo,
Not yet.
yeah. Woo,
but not
woo.
yet.
October 17th.
Well, hang
so
on.
we've
It
alluded.
was January. No, I mean July. I mean October 17th.
No.
And as we get closer to
Hold
that
on,
day-
hold on.
It
It's
is
got
now
royal
royal
assent.
assent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I'm sure
okay,
it does.
so-
Yeah, I'll find a way to hold it up somehow.
Hey, listeners, check this shit out. So, I haven't really. So, I've drunkenly taken a few puffs off of a joint and thrown up, but on October 17th, we're going to be releasing a very special episode.
We
where
are.
We're not going to be doing this drunk. We're going to be sampling the latest Canadian product.
That's correct.
It's legal.
Smoking the
Yeah. We were going to do this on July 14th, but
It's not legal.
it's
on
not
July
legal
14th.
anymore. Yeah.
We figured it was gonna be legal in July, so instead we're gonna do like a brewery thing. It'll be fun. But anyway,
It'll be
so we're gonna try and bring back as many guests as we've had on the show for
Yes.
our October show.
And we're gonna have a high episode.
Matt, our friend Matt, who's been on the show many times, has volunteered us to use his garage
And his product.
and his. Well, he's well.
There'll
we
be
don't have
several of our guests that will bring product.
We'll
Yeah,
have several of
sure.
our guests. Yes. So anyway, a little plug there for that show. So check that out.
Check that out. That'll be fun.
It's gonna be our first 7.5 hours of us going.
Guys, you want some Cheetos? Yes.
Oh yeah, we are
then
going to
silence
bring,
for an hour.
We're going to need to bring a lot of snack food.
Anyway, speaking of snack food, this is not speaking of snack food. We are out of time. For
We
this
are out of
episode.
time.
Anyway, I want to thank anyone who's listening. Still,
somehow.
we were going to be like making this all like, hey, come to Canada because here's the guy. No, it's
I'm
kinda-
We
sorry.
are a cool bunch of guys, though.
We're a
I'm
cool
sorry
bunch
you
of guys.
have the Cheeto Mussolini as dictator.
Hey, you know
of
what?
the earth.
If you're living in the U.S. and want some advice to come to Canada,
Tell you what,
we'll send
if
you a link. We'll send you a link.
If you want to come to Canada, if you cross the border,
Bring
we
Cheetos.
will not separate you from your children and throw you into jail.
Oh,
How's that?
Oh, okay.
yeah, CanadianSettlement.org I think is the site.
Is it really?
Or you can go to WikiHow. There's a
That might
fucking
work, too.
step-by-step thing.
Yeah, 200,000
Anyway.
people enter Canadian a year. So
There you go.
250 apparently.
250,000 people.
250,000. And you know what? We say bring them on. We say bring them on.
Bring
we
'em
got fucking room.
we
Have you
don't
seen
ha-
this
we-
place? We got fucking
we
room.
have a population density problem. So let's get
Exactly.
Come on. Anyway, so we thank you so much for listening to our show. If you're enjoying our show, check out our blog at twoandchange.ca. Make sure you leave us a comment on iTunes. Seriously, if you're listening to the show, please leave us a comment. It helps people find the show.
It
If you
does.
don't, he will find you and kill you or something.
And by
You're
me,
pointing
he's
at Mike.
he's pointing at me. I will find you.
Anyway, check us out. I don't have that knowledge. Anyway, for Two and Change, I'm Tim.
I'm Josh.
I'm Mike.
We'll see you later.
See you next time.
This kind of went to a
It went to an amazing place. This was one of the best ones we've ever done.
We always say that when we're a little tipsy, but then when we actually fucking listen to the show,
Like, this is awful. What happened?
This is one of those like, ooh, that's a lot of
yeah. I don't know. I don't think this one's gonna have so many edits. But I gotta put in some music.